Hello, my name's Melinda Jennison, Managing Director of Streamline Property Buyers in Brisbane. This presentation is designed to help you understand what we are seeing on the ground in Brisbane right now. We are Brisbane area experts and we know Brisbane better than anyone else. So I hope you find some value here so that you can make better investment decisions moving forward. Basically, to start, I'd like to outline the fact that Brisbane population growth is accelerating. The first graph shows how this is actually happening. You can see the blue lines here. This represents interstate migration. That's people leaving some of the other major cities, mainly New South Wales and Victoria, and they're migrating into southeast Queensland. This is causing a massive influx of new people. You can see the total population growth where it is today, and that is continued to project upward into the future. Obviously, the more people looking for housing, the more houses that we need, and this certainly impacts on the supply and demand ratio and puts upward pressure on demand. But right now, of importance is that Brisbane is experiencing a massive infrastructure boom. And I'd like to take you through some of these projects because not a lot of people know about some of these things that are happening. The first project is Queen's Wharf. This is a $3.6 billion project that is going to change the face of the Brisbane River. It's game-changing. It's an entertainment and lifestyle precinct, and it's currently under construction. This is going to bring significant economic benefits to southeast Queensland, but certainly to Brisbane. There's about 2,000 jobs that have been created during construction, and that's going to result in a further 8,000 jobs once this project is operational. So it's due for completion in 2022, and that's when it's certainly due to open. So it's something to keep an eye on into the future. We've also got the Cross River Rail project, which is currently under construction. It's a $5.4 billion project, which incorporates, this is the red line here that shows where the new underground railway system is being built. It's a 10.2 kilometre stretch from Dutton Park in the south to Bowen Hills in the north, and includes twin tunnels under the Brisbane River and the CBD. There's 4 new underground train stations that are being constructed as part of this project, and it's going to also bring significant economic benefits to the area, and it's going to reduce the bottleneck of public transport access into and out of the Brisbane CBD. Incorporated with this project is a revitalisation of the Woolloongabba precinct, which includes a mezzanine area across to one of the famous sports grounds in Brisbane known as the Gabba. We've also got the second runway that is nearing completion, a $1.3 billion project. And upon completion, it's going to give Brisbane the most efficient runway system in Australia. And it's going to attract new airlines and new routes, which are going to connect Brisbane to the rest of the world. A further 7,800 jobs and an additional $5 billion in annual economic benefits are projected to result from the construction of this second runway, and it's due to open this year in mid-2020. We've also got the Brisbane Metro, a $944 million project that's going to provide more public transport travel options for people to get into and out of the Brisbane CBD. At peak hour, it's going to deliver 3-minute services along some of the highest traffic corridors that we have in our city. It's a 21-kilometre service from 8 Mile Plains in the south through to Roma Street in the CBD, and also from Royal Brisbane Hospital at Hurston in the north through to the University of Queensland at St Lucia on the south side of Brisbane. Detailed design and construction phase is where this project is up to at the moment, and it's expected that this will be operational and commencing in 2023. There is also a huge entertainment precinct called Brisbane Live that has been proposed. It's a $2.1 billion project that has the capacity for a 17 to 18,000 seat entertainment arena and with associated ancillary facilities. Now, this is going to sit above the existing Roma Street railway station and rail network. So it's not using any land that's not already available. So it's reutilising some dead land within our CBD area. Of note is that this is not yet approved, but it is proposed, and there are further feasibility studies underway. We've also got Central Park, or Brisbane Central Park, which is a transformation of the Victoria Park Golf Course into a 45-hectare public parkland. And this is located just 2 kilometres from the Brisbane CBD. It's budgeted at just under $1 billion, and it's designed to be a sanctuary in the city for residents and visitors. Now, it's going to incorporate things like lakes, boardwalks, high ropes courses, a water park, a skate park, tennis courts, among other things. So it's really going to change the shape of inner city Brisbane living. We've already got the benefit of the newly constructed Howard Smith Wharves area under the Story Bridge. This was a $110 million project, and it has recently been completed, and it's one of the most popular entertainment precincts in our city right now. It's a riverside precinct under the Story Bridge that consists of bars and restaurants, and it creates recreation, lifestyle, events and tourism offerings. And another project, Brisbane Waterfront, which is on the Eagle Street Pier. It's an estimated $2.1 billion project that's recently been submitted to Council for approval. And this consists of redevelopment of the waterfront precinct by a huge investment trust called Dexus. This is going to create a world-class tourism and leisure destination, and it incorporates 2 commercial towers as well as restaurants and a huge waterfront promenade. Council have also proposed 4 new river crossings, and the bridge design is going to be very different to what most bridges are allocated. They are designed to make use of our subtropical environment, and they are going to, or proposed to be, a destination in themselves. You can see the first from Kangaroo Point to the CBD, from Tenerife through to Bulimba, from Toowong to West End, and of course the Neville Bonner Bridge, which is already funded and ready to be constructed, from South Bank through to Queen's Wharf straight into the city. Now, these are designed to be incorporating not just a public transport access way, but also a destination in themselves, so people can actually use these areas for parkland and recreation use. Now, these types of infrastructure projects are game-changing. This is a once-in-a-lifetime generation level of major infrastructure investment, and it's going to redefine Brisbane for visitors and residents over the longer term. And the best thing is that all of this is going to be completed by 2025. So this is going to create a huge increased demand for property in our region. But already there's huge demand for Brisbane property, and this is happening right now. We are seeing record numbers of buyers attending open homes. The number of registered bidders is becoming outrageous at some of our auctions, and we do not see this slowing down. But let's have a little bit of a look of where Brisbane was and what it has now become. Here's an aerial shot of Brisbane in 1982. This is the CBD, and at that time we were a fairly low density city with a very small population in comparison to now. Moving on to 2020, and this is what the CBD now looks like. And more recently, we've had a huge change as a result of an upgraded city plan, and we've had an influx of high-rise apartment development underway. And this has changed the shape of our city, and we now have a landscape where we've got much more high-density dwelling living options. But what we've seen is that a lot of that oversupply in the apartment space has now been absorbed largely by the huge population growth that we've experienced. So whilst there were predictions of a tumble in the unit prices, whilst we did see some softening in that market, it certainly was not the bloodbath that was predicted. In fact, we saw vacancy rates increasing as a lot of that investor stock in the unit space came to the market at a peak in around 2017. But since then, the market, or the trend for vacancy rates, has been decreasing. And across Brisbane, our vacancy rates are now sitting under 3%. So it is becoming a much tighter market. But certainly in some suburbs at a local level, of course, there's always markets with markets, we are seeing vacancy rates less than 2%, and in some areas less than 1.5%. So Brisbane needs more investment properties because there's simply not enough properties available for the number of tenants that are looking to occupy those properties. The other thing with Brisbane is that rental yields are very strong, and with current interest rates at record lows, it is not difficult to find a property that is at least neutrally geared in our market. You can see that there's upward pressure on asking rents. In the last 12 months, we've seen a 3.2% increase in the asking price for rents for houses. And across the last 3 years, that's increased 5.2%. So our yields are actually on the increase. They are improving. Now, the other problem that we've had more recently is that property listings have been declining. There are fewer properties available for sale in Brisbane today than there were even 12 months ago, and the trend line is downward. So we do not see this changing anytime soon. Furthermore, total dwelling commencements have been declining in Brisbane for some time, certainly in Queensland, but also in Brisbane. So what these two elements combine towards is decreasing supply. There is limited supply in Brisbane right now. So as I mentioned, we've got a market where we've got huge buyer demand and we've got limited supply. And we all know from basic economics, when we've got high demand and low supply, that definitely puts upward pressure on prices. But a word of warning, in Brisbane, not all property is created equal. Let's not forget the devastation caused by the most recent significant flood event in our city in 2011. Flood mapping is imperative that it must be checked in Brisbane. And if you're purchasing a property for investment purposes, remember, if you're buying a property in a flood zone, you will be hit with higher insurance costs, because this is what some areas experienced just a short period ago. Also, there's huge supply risk in some areas of Brisbane. Again, not all areas are created equal, and certainly the majority of our future land supply in southeast Queensland will be coming from the council regions of Ipswich, Logan and northern Gold Coast region. So if you're purchasing in an area where there's an abundance of broad hectare land available, there could be future supply issues. Now, we're a team of local area experts. We only buy property in Brisbane, but we do thorough due diligence on every property we purchase. Talia has property management experience. I myself, managing director, I am a qualified property investment advisor, and we're the only team across Australia to have a licensed builder on board as buyer's agents. So if you're needing assistance to position yourself in an investment property in Brisbane, we are here to help. Feel free to reach out to us at streamlineproperty.com.au or call us on 1300 318 477. We look forward to being of assistance to you. Bye for now.